Okay, Chris speaks back with Brandon Moseley for our BCS State of Alabama podcast, and we got ALCD2 candidate Hampton Harris with us back here for the second time. So, Hampton, a lot has changed since the first time we talked, man.
That's right.
So
Oh, did we lose him?
Yeah, I can still hear you.
I don't hear Chris anymore.
Yeah, Chris has sort of faded away. Well, how's the campaign going, Hampton?
It's going good. So we've been busy, moving full steam ahead, kind of shifted gears there. Like Chris said, and Chris, look, you're back here.
yeah, can y'all hear me?
I can hear you. I didn't hear your
Yes.
question though a minute ago.
Well, I think Brandon asked what I was asking about how the campaign was going. Um, so Hampton, I noticed the other day that seemed like you had over $220,000 in your campaign now. So fundraising's going pretty good.
Fundraising's going good. We've been moving full steam ahead. And so, yeah, like last time we talked, we were in a Democrat drawn district. It was meant to be a Democrat district. And so we were essentially fighting that to make sure I was the only Republican willing to get in against him because everyone else was just of the frame of mind of let's let him have 2 more years. We'll redraw maybe down the road and we'll get this district back. And I wasn't willing to let him have 2 more years, at least not without a challenge. I wasn't going to let him just walk right back in. And so I jumped in the race, and we were moving full steam ahead into May as the Republican nominee. And so as we were doing that, we're making great ground, and the Supreme Court drops the case saying you can't use race in redistricting. And so Alabama legislators were able to get a new map passed through, and thankfully Alabama's able to use the maps that Alabamians want. And so we got that through. And so I requalified for the new lines. And then the three-judge panel came back and said, no, you can't use those new lines. And so I flipped back to the old district, requalified again. And so it was crazy, confusing, trying to figure out where I was actually running. We were going all over the state. And so the Supreme Court then came back in and said, wait, you can use that new district that the legislators had passed. And so we flipped back. And so I've actually uh, qualified for this district 3 separate times. And so I always tell people that makes me the most qualified candidate on the ballot. And so we've been moving full steam ahead, kind of changed gears there, and we're moving into an August 11th primary that essentially nobody knows about. And so we're trying to raise awareness, let people know you have an election coming up, and we need to make sure you get out, have your voice heard, get out there and vote. And so that's what we've been working on for the last couple months here since we got the district change.
Did the GOP just let you do one check, or did they make you pay three different checks?
Thankfully, they allow us. I was in District 2 the whole time, both ways it went. So they did not make me pay again. We were able to just stay in with my original qualification. Thankfully, that would have been quite a lot of annoyance if we had to pay 3 different times there.
I was wondering that too, Brandon. So Hampton, I mean, I keep hearing, people making, I know none of this is all this subjective. They say Rhett's the odds-on favorite, but for me following this on Facebook, you seem to be the one putting in all the work, and you've been running for what, a year plus now. Do you feel that gives you an advantage going in the final weeks?
Look, I think we have a lot of momentum. We're moving forward. We've been putting the work in. I got in this race not because I wanted a promotion or it was an opportunity. It was because I believe in Alabama. I believe in the second district. I love my district. I grew up here. And so that passion is what I've brought to my campaign. And so we've been working it hard. And I think the people of Alabama have seen that. And that's what's really getting them fired up to have a voice that's one of us that is up there that's not a career politician, that's actually wanting to be a voice for Alabama, be someone who is easily able to be contacted if I win and stand up there. Because, and I say this a lot, but our nation was founded so that we didn't have a king. We have representatives, we have senators, we have a president who speak on our behalf, but the leaders of this nation is we the people. And with that, it comes a great responsibility that we the people vote the people in there to represent us well. And if nobody is going to represent you well, you get involved and you run for that position to make sure we have our values represented. Because as a Christian, And as a Christian nation, if we don't have somebody up there upholding Jesus in DC, no one else is going to do that on our behalf. And so we have to get up there. We can't leave the Bible on the church pew on Sunday. It applies to every aspect of our life, whether that's politics or work or our play, everything. It applies to who you are. And that's something we need to make sure that we're bringing up there. And so we've been working really hard at it for the last, like you said, long time moving through this campaign. And we have made a lot of ground. And I think that's really being seen. And I think we have a really good edge right now.
I know this is getting a little bit ahead of where we're at, but have you thought about what committees you would like to serve on if you're elected to Congress?
I have just through talk, just through talking to all the people that I've met. It's been great. I've been meeting so many people across this district, and I would love to be on the Armed Services Committee. Y'all know, my wife is active duty. She's a JAG officer at Maxwell. So everything that affects our active duty members affects me here at home as well. And so that's really close to me. And then I also have a grandfather who was Air Force. I have another grandfather who was Marines, fought in Vietnam. I've seen a lot of the issues that our veterans have faced, whether that's through healthcare or mental health in Alabama. And that's something that's really important for me to be able to bring that care because they signed a contract to protect us. And we need to uphold our side of the contract to give them what they need once they're out. And so that's something that's really important to me. And we also, in this district, I grew up in Montgomery. I've seen through the years how, especially the Democrats, have wanted to take Maxwell and Gunner and move them out of the state. And that would absolutely crush Montgomery if we didn't have that. We need to make sure we have somebody up there that's going to be a voice to make sure we keep these facilities, as well as Rucker down at Enterprise as well. But they were really hammering on Maxwell and Gunner. And that is the largest job producing uh, uh, I guess, corporation here in the river region. And so we need to make sure we protect that. So that's one of the ones I would love to be on. Would also love to be on the ag committee as well. And so that's something that's really, really big for me. I know a lot of the farmers, specifically row crops and especially timber farmers right now, are really struggling with some of the prices of things. And we need to make sure that our farmers are taken care of because if we are reliant on another country for our food, we're far more controlled than if they were invading us with guns and planes. That's how you siege your old castle back in the old days. You make them run out of food. And so that's something we need to. It's a national security issue. We need to make sure our farmers are taken care of, and our farming industry is really getting what they need.
And been here over the last, really, I guess, month, we've essentially lost two U.S. senators with the sudden passing of Lindsey Graham and Mitch McConnell. We don't know what's going on there. With you being only 29 years old, do you think that gives you an advantage over your opponents? And are you pushing that hey, we need young people up there?
100%. So number one, I have a lot of energy. If you can't tell, I talk fast. I'm ready to get things done. I can get up there. I can move fast. But it's also important to have young blood up there. Our younger generation has been turned off by politics, and if they are involved in politics, it seems that they are buying into the lie that you have to be socialist or communist if you're a younger generation. And I want to be able to get up there. If I'm elected, I'll be the youngest sitting Republican congressman representative. And so we need to get up there and allow people to see you can be young, you can be a conservative young person, make a difference and get in there. You don't have to wait until you're in your 80s before you decide to run for politics. You can get in there when you're young. Our founders were young. And I think that brings a lot to it. And we're seeing a this this movement that they tried to kill by killing Charlie Kirk, I think only exemplified it. And we're seeing it spread and we're seeing an awakening in America that I think is the younger generation seeing the amount of lies that have been fed to them. And so I think the being young really helps. And it will really help me in November as well, pull that young vote out that's really turned off by seeing politics being something that only the older generation decides to get involved in. And so I really think it's an asset. And while I am young, I own a real estate brokerage. I have people working under me, and I have worked on multi-million dollar deals. And I've worked, I mean, when you have that kind of a deal, it's a lot of really high tensions on both sides. People want a buyer and seller really trying to get their best deal they can. And so I've acted as mediator through that and worked them through, gotten these deals closed. And I think that's something that will really help me experience wise is being able to work. I mean, that's what we have up in DC is people across the aisle trying to get the best deal they can and really trying to come to what they believe. And while my views are significantly different from Democrat views, they are what we at least hope they believe is what they, is best for America. And I know a lot of people up there probably are doing what's best for their own pockets, but we need someone that has that experience to make these deals happen, and especially getting people together within the Republican Party because we've got to stay united here as a party, or the Democrats are going to keep winning. And we've seen this moving through, especially during the Trump years, I think has really helped us. We've seen a movement that the Republicans have gone on the offensive rather than the defensive, and we're taking ground back. And I think that is something that is important to keep moving because if we're just constantly trying to be defensive and then we're losing ground, we're going to keep shrinking. And so I think that's something that I can carry up there and keep moving.
I saw today right off the presses that you were endorsed by Eagle Forum. Um, how uplifting is it that you got, an endorsement this early in such a competitive race?
Yeah, I think that's really good. I think it's huge. Eagle Forum is huge. You've got a really good network, and it's going to really help get that grassroots out because voter turnout is going to be horrible. Like we talked about, nobody knows this race is even going on hardly, and so being able to get that endorsement, I think, is going to really boost us up front and help us there. And it was very exciting when that came in. We've been talking with them, and our views align very well, and so I think that's going to be a really big help here for our campaign.
And along the same lines, I mean, I've heard people say this may not even be a 1% turnout, 2% turnout. It's not going to take a lot of votes to win this. I'm not trying to get into your, asking you details, but if you focused on where your voters are at and how you can get them out to win this?
Yeah, so we've really focused, and like you said, it's going to be low. And it's a six-way runoff. I mean, primary, no runoff, and so it's a winner-take-all race. It's something that never seen in Alabama before, where you can get, I mean, six ways, you get 20%, and you can win the race. It's absolutely insane. And so we've been focusing on that. And while we love to have Eagle Forum's endorsement, the endorsements that really matter are the people of this district. That's what we're really focusing on because that's what's going to get us there, and that's who we're actually beholden to when we get up there is the people. And a lot of representatives forget that, and a lot of representatives end up owing a lot of favors, and that's something that we've been working on as well. It's been really good because we're funded by the people and our constituents, and so I think that is something that is going to really help us because I want to be a representative that is held accountable by the constituents of the district. That's what I'm going up there to represent. And while these endorsements from DC are great, the endorsements that really want are the ones here in the district of the people, of the voters. That's who I really want to support because that's who I'm going up there to represent.
You're a Montgomery native, and the way this district has been drawn by the legislature versus what it was before, Montgomery is the largest population center in this district. I think Elmore County is in there, across the river from Montgomery. Most of those people, are originally from Montgomery or they work in Montgomery. Do you think that gives you an advantage if you can get at that big Montgomery support and a big Montgomery turnout?
Oh, it definitely does. We definitely have an advantage there, and I think Montgomery wants a voice as well. And we have two really great representatives from Enterprise, or senators, that is, one to be here soon. And I think that Montgomery is really wanting a voice as well to make sure that they are having their voices looked out for. And so I think that really gives us an edge here as well, being the only candidate from the Montgomery area.
I mean, is there any issue that's, I mean, I know you mentioned Gunner a while ago, but between you and your candidates that y'all are debating out there on the campaign trail that is important in your district?
Well, especially veterans. The veterans, huge issue in this district and something that I care closely for. So yeah, the military veterans, Gunner and Maxwell. But going beyond what we already talked about, some other ones that I've seen come up a lot is our government is spending like crazy. They're swiping the credit card, burying their heads in the sand, waiting for the next generation, my generation, to pay for it later. And our Social Security is scheduled to run out of money in like 6 years. And instead of facing it now, they're waiting for it to run out and then they're going to face it. And anybody that's ever owned a business or balanced a checkbook or has done anything knows that you don't wait until you're delinquent before trying to fix a problem. You get ahead of it. And so that's something that we need to get ahead of to make sure that a lot of seniors in this district don't lose their benefits, because that's coming quick. And going back to the veterans that I didn't touch on, there's a lot in the healthcare industry, specifically pharmacy. And this goes to veterans as well as pretty much everybody in the district. A lot of our people are seeing prices of a drug that they've been having for years quadruple 10 times in price. And that's something we need to be really working on as well to make sure that we keep the prices of drugs affordable through getting rid of PBMs and a bunch of things like that and cutting those middlemen out of there and allowing our especially our seniors be able to afford it because a lot of them are on fixed paychecks and then you see medications just going through the roof. So that's been a really big issue across this district as well. And then just making sure that our biblical principles are upheld because we've seen a lot of that not happening in really nationwide, but in this district as well for representative, and we need to make sure that we stand up for that. And so I think a lot of our churches are wanting to get involved now and get out there and make sure that we uphold Jesus because like I said, if we don't do it, nobody else is going to do it for us.
Along those same lines, there's a lot of Alabamians that are diabetic, and now the drugs of choice for diabetes, the next generation drugs that appear to be, have an advantage are the GLP-1s, but you got here and you price a GLP-1 at your pharmacy, and unless you've got good drug coverage from your employer or your insurance company, it's 800, 900, 1,100, $1,200 even a month. Um, is there something that needs to be done, at the federal level to try to get, I mean, insulin's almost as high as the GLP-1s. Um, is there something we can do to not erase but decrease that burden
Yeah.
somewhat?
So I've seen a lot in the current administration doing like Trump RX and that kind of stuff, trying to help get the drug prices down. I haven't specifically looked at diabetic medications and how we can bring those prices down specifically. But one way we can help bring the cost of insurance down, we've got to get rid of the Affordable Care Act. And that's a terrible, let's say Obamacare, because it is not affordable. But we have to get that down, get insurance affordable here. And we need to bring some privatization. Well, I'm not going to say that again, but we need to get it privatized so that we can get these prices down and get better. Anytime you have competition, you're going to have better results. You're going to have lower prices. You're going to have people in there getting better service. And so we need to make sure that comes in here. And along with that will come dropping prices because they're going to be covering more and they'll be able to drop their coverage prices as well. And so I think a lot of it plays into the healthcare industry as a whole there.
I mean, don't feel bad if you said that. I tried to say that in my head 3 times and I couldn't even say um we're Captain, we're at the end of our allotted time here. Is there anything else you want to add? 'Cause I don't want to take up any more of your time. I know you're busy and probably got more interviews to do.
Yeah, so yeah, I just appreciate you having me on, and we're just needing to tell everyone out there, get out there August 11th, make your voice heard, make sure we get somebody up there that's going to represent Alabama, and represent District 2 there, and put your voices first. And that's something that I want to do. Make sure we uphold Jesus in DC. That's the one promise that I'm making everyone. Is when I get up there, they say, what can you promise? And I say the one promise that I will put right here, right now is I will uphold Jesus and his word no matter what pressure I'm getting, whether it's from the Democrats, whether it's from the Republicans, whether it's from our president, whoever that president may be in the future. I will make sure we stand with Jesus in the Bible. So, anybody out there, we need to make sure, tell your friends and family, August 11th, get out there and vote.
Thanks,
Thanks so
Hampton.
much
Good
for being
luck.
on, Hampton.
Thank y'all.
Bye bye.